So we were all just blessed with another Karoline Leavitt press conference today. And during that press conference, she admitted that the Trump administration committed serious war crimes, or as I'm going to explain, maybe murder. Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We are literally 6,000 subscribers away, thanks to you. So hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share, and let's get this done because this stupidity, it's got to stop. All right, so as I mentioned in my video this morning, reporting came out from the Washington Post detailing how there were multiple strikes on one vessel in order to kill everyone on board. Karoline was, of course, asked by a reporter if the second strike happened, and more importantly, who actually gave that order. Play the clip.
Regarding Venezuela, the president said yesterday that Secretary Hegseth had denied that second strike, that reported second strike on an alleged drug boat on September 2nd. The secretary said to the president that didn't happen. But to clarify, I just wanted to clear this up. In his social media post, Secretary Hegseth didn't go into details about that strike. He just said U.S. operations in the area were lawful, and he said that the story and media reports were fabricated. So to be clear, does the administration deny that second strike happened, or did it happen and the administration denies that Secretary Hegseth gave the order?
The latter is true, Abe, and I have a statement to read for you here. President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. And I would just add one more point to remind the American public why these lethal strikes are taking place. Because this administration has designated these narco-terrorists as foreign terrorist organizations. The president has a right to take them out if they are threatening the United States of America and if they are bringing illegal narcotics that are killing our citizens at a record rate, which is what they are doing. And under the previous administration, there was enough fentanyl trafficked into our country to kill every American man, woman, and child many times over. And so that...
Okay. Boy, she's freaking clueless. But as I write in my Substack of today, which I entitled Commander Clueless Strikes Again, the latest, this being the most alarming spectacle, ordering a missile strike. Think about this. So lethal, so sloppy, and so bizarrely vindictive that even members of his own party are choking on the details. This is a Venezuelan vessel, maybe suspected of drug trafficking. Fine. That's what interdiction forces exist for. But blowing up the ship and then, according to multiple reports, allegedly giving a green light for a second strike to eliminate two survivors, seriously, who are clinging onto debris? That, my friends, is not defense policy. That is deleted scene from some D-rated movie where the villain goes too far and the director just turns around and mutters, yeah, we can't release that. That's too fucked up. Mind you, what do? They're not going to take responsibility. Hell no, they never accept accountability or responsibility. So they're throwing Admiral Bradley under the bus and reading from this prepared statement that another reporter asks if that is an example of a war crime. Play the clip.
On the Venezuela strike, you said that second strike was in full accordance with the law of armed conflict, but the Navy's own manual of law of war says that specifically firing on survivors from a wrecked vessel is an example of a war crime that's forbidden under U.S. law and the law of armed conflict. So was that second strike in following law of armed conflict in that second operation?
Again, Andrew, I would reiterate to you the strike was conducted in international waters and in accordance with the law of armed conflict. And since somebody asked about Congress, and it's sort of related to Venezuela, I also want to add that Secretary Hegseth spoke with members of Congress who may have expressed some concerns over the weekend. And there have also been 13 bipartisan briefings to Congress on the Venezuelan strikes. There have been a number of document reviews for members of Congress to review the classified DOJ Office of Legal Counsel opinion and other related documents. 29 senators and 92 representatives have reviewed those documents, which is about 2/3 of those are Democrat members, and they have been made available to all 100 senators, all 435 members of the House, and to general counsels of the relevant committees on a bipartisan basis for their review.
No. So what makes this thing even worse? And with Pete Hegseth, there's always worse, is that this command wasn't issued through some careful deliberation or a structured chain of review. No. Apparently, it was spoken out loud, in the moment, in the same tone that frat boy Pete might use to shout, "Send it," before launching himself off a roof into a kiddie pool. And like all dangerous idiots, Hegseth assumes that he'll be protected by the same arrogance that led to the issue, the order in the first place. That's the craziest part here. But reporters weren't going to have any of this. Reporters continued to push back, asking, what law? Can you specifically cite what law allows no survivors? Play the clip.
You said that the follow-up strike was lawful. What law is it that allows no survivors?
The strike conducted on September 2nd was conducted in self-defense to protect Americans in vital United States interests. The strike was conducted in international waters and in accordance with the law of armed conflict.
Okay, there is no armed conflict. I want to be clear about something too, which maybe will go viral and make news. This is not a crime of war. This is not a war crime by Pete Hegseth or anybody else that carried out that second strike. In order for it to be a war crime, we have to be at war. And just the president designating these narco traffickers does not place the United States at war. I want each and every one of you to remember that is the role of Congress. So if it is not a war crime, what is it? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's murder one. That's really what it is. That's what Pete Hegseth did. They murdered these two surviving individuals where no information has been provided yet that demonstrates that they actually were narco traffickers. They're just, by the way, individuals in a boat that gets blown up. These two or so individuals are clinging onto debris, to which Hegseth gives the order, kill them all. And as I said in my Substack again, the man's response to the scandal, what's going on right now, this Hegseth frat boy, it speaks volumes. You see, instead of expressing concern for the nearly 100 individuals that they have killed so far in these attacks, or even acknowledging the seriousness, or even feigning adult level awareness of international law, Hegseth begins posting. That's what he does. He's posting AI-generated images mocking the entire situation. Because with all due respect, nothing says I take this seriously like using AI to create memes about missile attacks. It's literally the moral equivalent of a teenager doing Fortnite dances at a crime scene. Now, Karoline, she also goes on and speaks about last week's National Guard shooting, blaming it, of course, on Joe Biden, even though the suspect was actually granted asylum by the Trump administration. Play the clip.
Next, I would like to address the horrific tragedy that took place in our nation's capital that last week. A foreign terrorist that the Biden administration failed to properly vet ambushed two members of the West Virginia National Guard who were honorably serving here to keep the residents and visitors of Washington, D.C. safe.
So, look, let me be very clear. Once again, They're going to try to spin this as if this is a Biden era. This is not a Biden era. It's actually not even a Trump era. The assailant, the murderer, as far as I'm concerned, he was 10 years working with the CIA in Kabul. Was brought over during the great extrication, right, from Afghanistan. This is a weird situation, and actually we need to know what was it that radicalized him. Now, Karoline continues to ramble about immigration, and obviously we know why, because Trump now imposed a moratorium on 19 countries coming into America. Play the clip.
It is also essential to immediately address the massive fraud and corruption that has been going on for decades in other aspects of our immigration system, most notably when it comes to asylum claims. Millions of people who have come here under false pretenses are told blatant lies now enjoy temporary legal status. President Trump is ending this scam as well, and I would point out that the Democrats have tried to block this administration from doing so at every turn with lawsuit after lawsuit.
Because that's the way the system works. It's called the Constitution. There are 3 branches of government, not one. And when you believe that something is being done improperly, you turn to the Constitution and you bring in action within which to ensure that the rules, that the amendments, that the articles in the Constitution are followed and adhered to, regardless of whether it's the executive branch, the legislative branch, or the judiciary. Plain and simple. Now, meanwhile, the reporter goes on and asks Karoline about Trump's MRI. Play that clip.
And can I
Danny.
follow up on the MRI? Because President Trump yesterday said that he would release the results of his MRI. Is that happening right now?
It is happening right now. As part of, and this is a summary from the president's physician, and we will release it right now. I think my team has it teed up for all of you. I'll read it for you, and then you'll get it physically as well. As part of President Trump's comprehensive executive physical, advanced imaging was performed because men in his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health. The purpose of this imaging is preventative, to identify any issues early, confirm overall health, and ensure the president maintains long-term vitality and function. President Trump's cardiovascular imaging was perfectly normal. No evidence of arterial narrowing impairing blood flow or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. His abdominal imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear very healthy and well perfused. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. In summary, this level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health. Again, we will provide that to you. I think that's quite a bit of detail, and in the effort of transparency, the president promised it last night, and we have delivered today. So there you go. Danny.
Yeah, let me be very clear. Nobody goes in for routine MRI of the heart and the stomach, right? He probably was having some gastric pain. He probably was having some chest pain. So they did. But imagine, even on Air Force One, Trump didn't know what part of his body that the MRI was being done of. Seriously? Like, you really think that Donald Trump didn't ask, hey, what are we doing here? Look, then, of course, finally, to end this clip, Karoline goes on a complete rant about fake news. Play the clip.
Room who do reach out for comment, who try to get things right, and there are some that remain, but overwhelmingly the fake news that we see pumped out of this building on a day-to-day basis, it's honestly overwhelming to keep up with it all, and to constantly have to defend against these fake news and these attacks. And I will point out,
yeah, and that fake news is emanating from that gaping hole, that gaping anus underneath your nose, Karoline. All right, let me just end it on this. All right. If this pattern is everything that we talked about in this episode, if this is the level of judgment steering America's war machine, then, my friends, the true danger is not coming from hostile nations abroad. No, it's coming from the guy who treats war like it's a playground dare and consequences be damned. And the stupidest part about Hegseth he still thinks that he's the hero of the story. Let's prove him that they're not. Make sure that 2026, the midterms, go exactly the way we want them to. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey everyone, first of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.